Hello, this is Mrs. Dostal, and I'd like to talk to you about MackinVIA, which is one of our resources in Clever. So to get there, you're going to go to the Eisenhower website, and then you're going to get signed in to your Clever portal, and students know how to do that. Once you're signed into Clever, you're going to look for this black tile that says MackinVIA, and we're going to click on MackinVIA to open that up. MackinVIA is provided by Keystone, and it organizes a lot of our ebooks. So on our homepage, we have articles from Dogo News at the top, which are just interesting things kids might like to look at. We have some books organized by newest, highest rating, top resources, etc. Let's look at the buttons on the left first. So you can see this is the homepage, and the green home button will always get you back here to the homepage. The second button, the blue one, says All Resources. If I click on here, I can see that it opens up all of my resources, and I have many, 9,235. This helps you organize your pages. It's going to show 60 on a page right now, but you can change that with this little arrow. You can also change the view. So right now it's in a list view. So I see a picture of the book cover, the title, some information about the book. I can click on More Info to get additional information about the book. Scroll down here. And then on the right-hand side, I have some options. So I can open the book now. I've added this to my favorites, so I can remove it. I can check the book out. So I'm going to exit this as the more information, so we can get back to our list view. Another thing I want to point out is this little black icon that's going to be on every book. When I hover over it, it says ebook. That's what type of resource this is, and it has just a little picture of a book there. If I want to open this book, I click on Open Now. My book opens up in my window, and I have little arrows on the side where I can click through the book. This book also has a play button at the bottom. You won't be able to hear this, but it's going to read the book with sort of a computerized voice on this one. And it follows along, you can see the highlighting there. When I'm done with this book, I'm going to click on what we call the pancakes, these three lines up here, and then I can say, close my book. As I scroll down here, I can see a lot of different books in my list. Let's look at this one, One Cookie, Two Chairs, Three Pairs. So I hover over this, I can see it's an ebook. My choices over here are add to my favorites. I'm going to do that now. This is if you want to be able to find a book again later without searching for it. And I'll show you later where you can find those favorites. So I'm going to click on add to favorites. Now it's in my favorites. And then I'm also going to click on checkout. Ebooks are very similar to books in your library. When I check it out, I'm going to have this book for a week. So when I click on checkout, you can see now it says return expires in 6 days and 23 hours. So you have that book for about 7 days. The great thing about MackinVIA is that it returns the book for you. You don't need to worry about going into your website and sending it back. It returns it for you in 7 days. If you go back on the 7th day, there'll be a little button where you can renew it if you want to keep it for another week. The reason you have to check it out is because ebooks are purchased similar to other books. And so each of them have, they may have this one says multi-user, so there are multiple copies of that one. This one says available 3 out of 3. And so there are 3 of these books available for checkout, so 3 people could have that book checked out at once. So ebooks are purchased very similarly to just regular library books. So there are 3 of this collection. All right, let's go up here to the top again. So I'm still in my all resources, and we have a couple books checked out and we added to our favorites, and we'll look at those later. The next button down here is the red one that says groups. I'm going to click on this, and I can see some groups here that have been created, and one of them our 5th graders use a lot is this one that says 2019-20 Iowa Children's Choice. Those were for our Battle of the Books kids. Whenever I click in a group, it's just going to open up those titles for me. And here they are. If I ever want to change my view, so I don't have my list view anymore, I have the grid view up here. That's an option. And that just puts all the books lined up with just a shot of the cover. I'm going to go back to list because I kind of like the information I see here. You can see we have 30 copies of this book, 9 of which are checked out. That information is right here. And then I want to point out this little black icon is different on this book. It has headphones instead of the book. When I hover over it, says audiobook. So this is just an audiobook that you listen to. It will have no pages on the screen, but you can listen to that audiobook. All right, so back to groups. We have several in here. Here's a group about coding, preschool ebooks, read aloud books, and then there are quite a few science groups down here that are interesting to peruse. All right, my next button over here, the purple one, is called categories, and this is a nice section for if you don't exactly know what kind of book you want, but say you're just browsing. So you may want to book an adventure book, an animal book. You can see when I hover over one of these tiles, it tells me how many books are in that category. So adventure titles, there are 348. Animal titles, 1,561. There are quite a few categories in here, so it's a nice place to stop if you're just looking, you kind of like animal books or maybe you like historical fiction, to find a genre. All right, I have some other white buttons over here. Now the ebooks will just show you a list of the ebooks. If I click on databases, this shows me the other Keystone resources. So this is a nice way to get to those Keystone resources that we use at school a lot. They're great to use at home as well. Most kids are familiar with book flicks that have videos of books and books being read aloud. Here's Britannica, the school encyclopedia. We also have a lot of different other flicks. Freedom Flicks are great videos. So just a lot of great resources in here. So again, that was under the databases. If you want to look for just audiobooks, there's an audiobooks button here. So all of these will have the headphones, and these are books you just listen to. You don't read on the screen. Videos and links are not sections that have been really filled up here. There are a couple things in there, but not very many right now. All right, I'm going to go back to home, and I want to show you how to search something. So I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to say I want to search something about horses. So I'm just going to type in horses and click on my little search here. And it shows me I have 965 results on horses. So all of these come up. I'm in list view here. If I want to open them, I can do that, add them to my favorites, or check one of those books out. One nice thing I want to point out, once we've done a search, if you scroll over on the left-hand side all the way to the bottom and click on this last filter down here that says More, it'll let you narrow down your search. And one thing a lot of kids like are the read-along books. So I want to show you those. So I'm going to click on Read Along. This search is for read-along books within my horse search. All right, so now the books displaying, there are 60, are just read-along books. And I want to point out the black icon here is an ebook, but it also has a little play button with it, and that is a read-along. All right, so let's look at this read-along book. I'm going to open it. It opens up like my other books. This shows up because it's showing you on the left-hand side why it gave you this search, where the word horses shows up here. So if I click over on my book, it goes away. Now, this does have my regular arrows to go through the pages. Often I have to click on this black X in order to make my play button show up down here. Now for this one, when I hit play, I don't think you can hear this on your screen, but it's going to read it in a regular reading voice with a person, not a computerized reader. So that's the nice thing about read-alongs. You see the highlighting of the text also follows along with reading of the book. When I'm finished with this book, I can click on my pancakes up here and say close the book. If I want to add that to my favorites, I can do that. If I want to check it out, I can do it here. And now it's checked out to me. So that's a nice way to kind of filter through, especially if you're looking for read-aloud books. The read-along books here with the play button, those are really nice. They have a regular human voice reading them, and the highlight follows along. Okay, now I want to show you where you can find the books that you have checked out and added to your favorites. So you'll see up on top on this black bar, it says Welcome Liam. I'm signed in as Liam right now. And here's a backpack. So I'm going to open this backpack, his backpack. I can see my favorites are right here, so I'm going to click on Favorites first. And here are the books that I just added today on my favorites list. If I ever want to remove some of them, I'm done with them now. I have 2 of this one. I'm just going to click on this button that says Remove from Favorites. And now just one of those will show up. Okay, so my favorites are in my backpack. Other things in my backpack. Notebook. That works with some books, but not always and not on every device, I've noticed. That's where you can mark up some books and it stores the markups, notes you've taken and things like that. If you get that to work on your device, that's where you'll find those marked up books here. The next one is called Checkouts, and this is where I should see the books that I have checked out. So here's the one I checked out while we were doing this video. You can see it says expires in 6 days, 23 hours. I can open it. I can return it right here. So if I click on return, it's checked back in, and then another student can check that out. But like I said, if you don't return it, that's okay. After 7 days, it automatically returns the book for you. All right, so I'm going to go back to my backpack. Request is something we're not using at this time because the only way to get your request information back is through email, and most of our kids are not using their school email on a regular basis. All right, I'm going to go back to my favorites. And so if I just want to come in someday and I'm looking for one of my books that I've checked out and I want to continue where I left off, I just click on Open Now. Here's my book. Last thing I want to show you while I'm reading a book, if I want to keep my place, is up in the right-hand corner is this little bookmark. I'm going to click on that. It's going to put my bookmark in so that when I come back to the book, it should be on that same page. So we're going to open that book again. And it went to where my bookmark was. So that's kind of a nice feature for kids again. All right, so this is MackinVIA. Really a great resource if you're looking for ebooks or audiobooks, and you can get to this anytime you have an internet connection by going through the Eisenhower website, signing into Clever, and then clicking on MackinVIA.